Welcome guys, as PUBG just went free to play, it is time to look into updating some of my PUBG guides to make sure that new players get the best tips for quickly learning how to master the difficult game that is PUBG. In this video, I'll explain how to quickly learn recoil control, which is one of the absolute core mechanical skills to master in this game. But before we get started, I want to remind you that you can directly support me by using the code WackyJacky101 as your creator code in PUBG. That means I get a portion of every purchase you make in the game, and this obviously helps me a ton and motivates me to do even more PUBG content. Alright, so first and foremost, the recoil in PUBG is random. This means that every single time you fire your gun, the gun will recoil differently. This is the case for both single fire and full auto, but there are some important tips related to each, so we'll start with the handling of a full auto weapon. When you fire a weapon in full auto, the horizontal movement of the weapon is random and impossible to fully predict. But what we can say is that the horizontal recoil is lower at the early stages of the spray, typically during your first 5 bullets or so. This makes the initial shots of the weapon the easiest to control and so also typically the most lethal. What this also means is that you should always try your best to not fire your weapon before your crosshair is on your target, to not waste this easy recoil. What we can also say is that when leaning, your gun will recoil slightly into the side you're leaning into. This typically isn't a big deal, but is something to be aware of, as it will make leaning spray more difficult to handle compared to starting your spray while in a straight body posture. Controlling your horizontal recoil is all about doing your best to realign your crosshair horizontally onto your target, as it will naturally fall off target during a spray. It takes practice, decent reaction time, and precision to do this, since the movement is random, and so I don't really have any secret tips to do this, but of course, horizontal recoil can be reduced by using attachments. Vertical recoil, on the other hand, is very highly predictable, as your gun will move upwards at a constant speed with very low vertical variation. What this means is that in order to master the vertical kick of your weapon, all you basically need to do is move your mouse straight down at a constant speed that matches the vertical movement of your weapon. A perfect vertical control consists of 3 things. 1. Your ability to move your mouse at a constant speed, which is more difficult than you might think. The more inconsistently you move your mouse, the more difficult it will be to control your weapon. Practice controlling your mouse vertically with no changes in speed. 2. Good vertical control also means not moving your mouse horizontally while you move your mouse vertically. And this is one of the most difficult things when it comes to vertical gun control. Imagine moving your mouse vertically along a perfectly straight line. Every time you deviate from this line, your horizontal aim gets affected and thereby becomes inaccurate. The better you are at moving your mouse along a vertical line with no horizontal deviation, the better. You'll also notice that when practicing this, the faster you move your mouse, the more difficult this becomes. This is why vertical recoil reduction attachments are preferred among most experienced PUBG players. The vertical grip reduces vertical recoil the most, which thereby requires the least vertical mouse movement, and this results in a more precise motion with the least impact on your horizontal aim. And 3, you'll need to learn how much you have to move your mouse with the different weapons in order to be as accurate as possible to counter the vertical movement of your crosshair when firing. This is just a matter of getting the experience with the different weapons in full auto. It is important to always go crouch if you can when performing a spray, as this reduces the recoil of the gun a significant amount. There will be some situations, however, where crouching while shooting will seem impossible, since your bullets will go into the frame of a window or another object. This happens because the bullet comes out of the gun barrel and not the sight. An important tip here is to quickly tap your left and right keys, as this will raise your crosshair a little due to the movement of the character, and this will often result in your barrel being raised just enough to be able to fire your weapon at your target. A side benefit of crouching is also naturally that you are reducing how big you are as a target. Increasing the vertical mouse sensitivity by 10 to 30% will make vertical recoil control much easier at the cost of making diagonal mouse movement more difficult. I do, however, strongly recommend increasing the vertical sensitivity at least in the beginning. But many professional and experienced players still play with vertical mouse sensitivity increased, as this also makes scope spraying more manageable. My personal recommendation is setting your vertical mouse sensitivity to about 1.2, which is an increase of 20%. For single-fire weapons such as using a DMR or perhaps an assault rifle in single fire, the most important thing is to have a steady shot cadence. By shooting at a constant rate of fire, you're also making your vertical recoil constant and thereby making it far more manageable, as your gun will move vertically at a constant rate as well. In the beginning, do not worry about clicking super fast. Start at a vertical rate of fire that makes the movement of the weapon manageable to you, and then increase the clicking cadence as you get more experience controlling your weapons. All of these skills can be practiced and perfected using PUBG's latest practice range on the training map. I recommend spending a good amount of time in here to get comfortable with the recoil of the different weapons, experiment with different attachment combinations, feel the difference between standing and crouch recoil, and so on. And now you have all the information you need in order to learn PUBG gun control. If you liked the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more, and I'll see you guys next time.